Hey guys, this is Michael. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm so happy to have you here today. So, I have a question for you, and this is regarding anime. So, I want you to just hang with me, okay? So, here's my question: who's right and who's wrong? Which path will you choose? Is conviction and wanting to do the right thing a good path, or will you follow your ambition? Now, I know right about now you guys are asking yourselves, Michael, what the hell are you talking about? Well, I just got done binge watching Code Geass. Okay? Now, as I told you before, there is a new season of Code Geass out. It's about 3 episodes in right now, and I'm enjoying it. But in order to prepare for the new season, I went back to the lab. I went back and I rewatched Code Geass. So, as I was watching it, I got to thinking about two characters in general that we follow in our story. Two characters, two sides, same coin. And we're going to discuss them today. I want to compare both characters. And then I want you guys to decide in the comments below, which path do you follow? Which path, in your opinion, is the right one? Are you ready? Let's go. Let's start with the tail of the take. Our combatants today, or our characters if you will, Suzaku Kururugi and Lelouch Britannia, or, as most of you in the anime world know him, Zero. Are you ready? Here we go. Let's start with our main man. Well, one of our main men. Let's start with Warrant Officer, soon to be the Knight of Seven, or one of the Knight of Seven, and ultimately, at the end of this series, the Knight of Zero, Suzaku Kururugi. Born in Japan to Prime Minister Genbu Kururugi, at the age of 10 years old, thinking that it would bring peace and harmony to his country in an act of, I guess you would say, selfishness, but in his opinion, what he thought was right, killed his father. However, what Suzaku didn't know back then is that not only would it bring peace to his country, but it would also bring complete subjugation from the invading country, of Britannia, leaving Japan with no more than just a number. Area 11, stripped of its name, stripped of its nation's identity, just left with a number. From that point on, Suzaku Kururugi went to become an honorary Britannian. He joined up with the Britannian military, and eventually he worked his way up to becoming a devicer for his machine, the Nightmare, known as the Lancelot. Using the Lancelot, Suzaku Kururugi would perform many impossible missions that it seemed were impossible to others, but Suzaku was able to do it. Because of his hard work and dedication, Suzaku Kururugi was able to not only reach the rank of Warrant Officer, but he also managed to work his way as high as becoming Princess Euphemia Britannia's Knight. She is one of the sisters to Lelouch, and was one of the royal children to one day possibly be heir to the throne. However, and we'll get to that later about Euphemia. Euphemia, or as she's known in the series as Yuffie, meets an unfortunate timely end. But, like I said, we'll talk more about Euphemia at another video or at another time. Okay, now let's continue with Suzaku. Suzaku has this conviction to do the right thing. All he wants is to protect his friends and to be peace. And he's willing to do whatever it takes to get it. He's willing to fight for the weak and fight for his friends. He's willing to be that good person, the well-respected person, the one that you can always count on. But I leave it to you, dear viewer. Will that lead Suzaku Kururugi to his salvation? Or will it ultimately lead to his destruction? You see, the other thing is in his own way, Suzaku Kururugi is looking for atonement. Because you see, he's been carrying the burden of knowing that he was the one that killed his father and ultimately led Japan into becoming nothing more than just a number. And so, in his own way, he constantly tries to find a way to atone for his sins for what he's done, while also battling for a future and where everyone can live peacefully, whether they're Japanese or, as we would know them to be known as 11s, or whether you're Britannian. However, as I've stated before, things don't always work out for Suzaku, or at least things don't always work out the way he wants to. This path of conviction ultimately leads him sometimes into friends that he has known betraying him, or his past coming back to haunt him. So again, I'll ask you, who do you choose? Suzaku Kururugi? Will his convictions and his wanting to do the right thing, and the fact that he's an upstanding citizen and soldier of Britannia, will that lead him to his salvation and his atonement? Or will it lead to his destruction? Alright, that's one. Now we go to the other side of the coin. Let's examine Lelouch Lee Britannia, 11th in line to be the heir to the throne of Britannia. Growing up in Britannia along his other sisters and brothers, second Prince Schneisel, Prince Clovis, Princess Cornelia, Princess Euphemia, and of course, Princess Nonali, Lelouch and his sister Nonali unexpectedly lives were thrown into chaos when their mother, Lady Marianne Lee Britannia, was assassinated. In order to keep the children safe, they were sent away into Tokyo, which now we know was the former head of Tokyo and is now in Area 11. They now live at Ashford Academy, hiding under the names of Lelouch Lamperouge, and of course his younger sister Nonali, who is afflicted. You see, Nonali is both blind but is also a paraplegic. We would come to find out later in the series that this was caused by the Grand Emperor of Britannia placing Goss upon her when she was just a little child. But we'll get more into that later. Back to Lelouch. All right. Lelouch is the vice president of the Ashford Academy. And one day, as he sneaks off of campus to go do some gambling, he gets caught in the middle of a firefight. He discovers a girl by the name of C2. There, while he's hiding and looking for a way out, Lelouch is entered into a contract with C2. She grants him the power of Goss, the power of the king. With this power, he is able to take on the identity known as Zero. He's able to hide his identity and begins his rebellion against the country that sent him away and basically forsook him and his sister Nonali. He creates an organization known as the Black Knights. and constantly strives to wage a war with his homeland. You see, you could say that Lelouch has conviction, but really, Lelouch has ambition. He wants to create a world where his sister Nonali can live in happiness and peace, and he can live with her, where they don't have to worry about living in fear, where they don't have to worry about living in hiding, where they can just be their normal selves. But just as I did with Suzaku Kururugi, I ask you, will Lelouch's ambition lead him to his salvation? Or will it lead him to walk the path of the king, alone, and quite possibly lead to his own destruction? We see many twists and turns in Lelouch's journey, all while keeping his identity as Zero and the fact that he has Goss, a secret. There are more elements that we learn along the way. For instance, we learned that the Grand Emperor of Britannia and Mother Marion really secretly wanted to create this thing called the Sword of Akasha. They wanted to rewrite the world into their own image. And for that, essentially, they abandoned their children. They abandoned their family. And basically said that they were doing it in a way to protect them. Lelouch doesn't believe it and ultimately reaches the level of becoming the emperor of the entire world. He ultimately makes it so that the entire world hates them. It's his attempt of balance for the world. Because for him, good cannot exist without evil, and evil cannot exist without good. And so, for Lelouch, if he has to become the evil of the world in order for people to see that there can be peace in the world, he's not afraid to take it to that level. Lelouch will do whatever it takes. And even though in the show it comes off cold when the Black Knights find out that he was just using them as pawns or chess pieces in a chess game to get what he wants, you still understand Lelouch's perspective. You still understand his ambition. But is it conviction or is it ambition? Which side of the coin does Lelouch fall on? What side of the coin does Suzaku Kururugi fall on? When we analyze both of these characters, when we analyze both of these gentlemen, who's right and who's wrong? You see, Suzaku wants to do everything by the book. He wants to be the person that'll say, it'll be all right. If you just tell the truth, if you admit to your crimes, you will have to serve time, but you will be forgiven. Isn't that what counts? At the same time, as I've stated earlier, Suzaku Kururugi wants to atone for everything that he's done. And so in his own way, he tries to get those around him to see the error of their ways and to come clean without really admitting it to himself. He still believes that what he did way back when he was 10 years old was the right thing to do, even though his own country resents him for it. So is he right? What would you do? Then there's Lelouch. Lelouch simply just wants to create a world where his sister Nonali can live in peace. He'll do anything to achieve this goal. He will use others, he will connive, he will conspire, he'll do what's ever necessary. But is he lying to himself? Is it secretly? Really? Does he really want to do this for Nonali? Or is he simply doing this for revenge? Revenge against his family for abandoning him and his sister in their time of need. Revenge because his own mother and his own father abandoned him and his sister for their own selfish desires. Perhaps both gentlemen, Suzaku Kururugi and Lelouch Britannia, or Zero, however you view him, are both being selfish for their own twisted ideals, for their own opinions. They'll see their ambitions or their convictions, they'll see them through to the end. But I leave it to you, dear viewer. Which will you choose? Or which would you choose? Who's right and who's wrong? Suzaku Kurudugi or Lelouch Libretagne, aka Zero? Who's right? Who's wrong? And maybe another question, I'll leave you with this. What would you do if you had the power of the king? What if you had the power of Goss? What would you do with it? How would you use it? Would you take the path of Lelouch? Or would you find some other use for Goss? What would you do? So, as I was watching this, these questions came into my mind. And I really enjoyed watching Code Geass again, you guys. I really did, because Code Geass, for me, it's an awesome show. If you haven't seen it, which I think most of you have, but if you haven't seen it, go check it out. There are 2 places where you can check it out, guys. Honestly, 2 places. Hulu and Crunchyroll. And they're all there. There are some movies that are involved that I haven't seen yet, but for the most part, I loved watching this again, and it really got me thinking. And that's why I really wanted to do this video, and I wanted to bring it to you guys. So, I want to know, whose team are you on? You've heard the tale of the tape. We've examined both Suzaku Kurudugi and Lelouch Libretagne, aka Zero. So, are you Team Suzaku or are you Team Lelouch? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear from you guys. If you stayed till the end of the video, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Remember, please like, share, and subscribe. Please share this sucker out there. Hit that notification bell so you know when I make another video. And remember, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go make it an anime day. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.